Welcome back, JaCoby.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Anyone have questions?
Yeah, Jacoby, we've been asking just talking with Jabril, a lot of young guys making an impact on Saturday. What do you see in the young players on this team?
I see growth. Just earlier that week, I was talking with Moffitt and I was talking with the strength staff, and I was talking about how the freshmen kind of they didn't get the normal offseason coming into the year. And a place here, we depend on our freshmen to play and have some big roles. And I'm a true believer in how you really find team character, you find team leaders, and you find just kind of the theme of the team during summer workouts with Moffitt. And we lost that due to the coronavirus. And you kind of also, with losing those kind of first couple of games for those freshmen to kind of see the speed and adjust to the speed, you lost that and we just jumped into the SEC play. So for the freshmen to kind of stay with it and not quitting and just learning on the run and just learning on the move, I think I see a lot of growth and a lot of maturity, because I know that the situation they were thrown into this year was really, really hard.
Hey, JaCoby, one quick question and a follow-up. Is it safe to assume that this is your last home game?
Yeah, it is. Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's no chance you're coming back with the COVID rules and all that?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay. Well, you have so much to reflect on in your career, right? I mean, the greatest team of all time, the struggles this year. Is it all part of life? Is it all part of life experiences?
Oh, yeah. It's funny you guys asking these questions, because it's like I had these conversations before, because I was actually talking to Jack Marucci about the game, and I was saying it's like a simulated version of how the season went, the entire game, where, at the beginning of the game, defensive-wise, we were doing really well. You can kind of look at, last year we came off a really high season and stuff like that, and then there was parts of the game where, they kind of exploited us and kind of exposed holes in the armor, and so to speak, defensive-wise and just team-wise, and they came and ate our lead up and took the momentum back. But this team right here, and just kind of following the leader, following our head coach and how his personality is, we stayed together and we fought and we had grit, and we took the lead back, and eventually we beat Florida and won the game. And when I was telling this to Jack, he kind of looked at me. He said, that's exactly right. That Florida game is kind of a simulated version of this, how the season went. And this kind of how life is. Every game is kind of like that. You're going to get hit. You're going to get knocked down. That's, I can, guarantee that 100%. It's just about how you respond and how you get back up.
Yeah, Jacoby, how would you describe how the season has been? Especially in comparison to your previous years here at LSU, for this to have been the kind of season that it has been. What would you describe this season to be? And also, what do you think it'll mean for the team to possibly end the season with a 2-game win streak?
Right. It's odd. We'll be lying if I didn't say it was odd. Like I just said, that we didn't have an off season, and I think people are going to really realize how big an off season really is, how big the strength staff, how much the strength staff actually does with creating team chemistry, creating the team's, like I said, theme of going into the year. We didn't have that, and that's a really big deal. And for us, it hurt us. We had one of the best head weight coaches, and Coach Moffitt. So that those summer workouts gets us ahead body-wise, but also morale-wise and mentally, emotionally. And for us to kind of have that cut short and have a variation of that really made the season odd, because that's one thing about just sports in general, is about repetition and making things normal. And for the young guys, it's kind of almost just throwing them into the fire, and they're like, hey, learn on the run. And that's not, you kind of, it kind of, kind of have situations like we had this year when that stuff happens.
Hey, JaCoby, I guess kind of what does it say, about the defense? You guys obviously give up a ton of yards to Florida, but you guys were able to, bend but not break. And I know that's something you talked a lot about earlier this season when we had with you. I mean, just how big of an impact does that have? Just, having guys step up and make timely plays and being playmakers throughout the rest of the season.
Right. I mean, that's the mentality every defense has to have. Things are going to go wrong. I wish I can tell you that, we can give up 0 points every week and that we limit them to under 150 yards passing and 50 yards rushing. But just the athletes that we're facing and the schemes these guys are coaching, it's hard to do that now. So it's something that every defense has to talk about going into the year, is about bending and not breaking, because famous words of Coach Corey Raymond is that those guys on scholarship too, and they're going to make plays. But like I said, it's about how you're going to respond. And I think with Florida, we put ourselves into some bad spots. There were some times where they completed a long ball, or we had a penalty and they got into the red zone. And I think they were actually I think their percentages were really good in the red zone and red zone goal line. And for us to stop them multiple times, it just speaks to the team, and it speaks to the mentality of the team.
Over your 2017 class, I mean, from the 5 stars down to the 2 stars, everyone was pretty successful, a lot of leaders in that group. I guess it's probably a tough question to answer, but do you think that's something that was already there in that class and just like who those guys are, or do you think that's something that can get developed?
I think it goes both ways. I think it works both ways in a sense, because, I mean, although you have those guys that come in with those leadership qualities, it still takes, like I said, it takes people. It takes, like as people say, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes people to mold that person into a leader. Coming in, I didn't see myself as a leader, or I didn't see myself as being a vocal leader. And the whole time, Coach Moffitt, Coach O, Jack, they're telling me, hey, you need to do this. You need to go tell the team this. The guys listen to you and stuff like that. And, I'm like, no, they don't. You know what I'm saying? And it really took until the end of last year for me to realize, like, hey, that sometimes the things that I do say kind of hold a little weight. And so it works both ways, with the coaches knowing who they recruited and what they have, and them molding that player and allowing that player to grow and helping them grow into the leader and eventually into the man they're going to be when they leave here.
JaCoby, you've talked about this as your last game. What would you want your message to leave behind for the team?
Oh man, just patience and hard work. Coming here, as a high recruit and not playing and changing positions and, not having success early really tested my patience. And that's something I always talk about. I think that's a struggle of mine. And it forced me to be patient, and it forced me to keep my head down and put in the work. I mean, it was obviously that a job and a spot wasn't going to be given to me here. And I just had to be patient. Like I said, I had to be patient and put in the work to get good enough to even get on the field at LSU. And then when I got that opportunity, I made something of it, and I just didn't look back.
JaCoby, Eli Ricks, there's a saying some people have, he's got some dog in him, to describe somebody who's got some swagger and some, as a true freshman, the plays he's made and everything. What is the future for this guy at LSU?
Man, the sky's the limit. That's what that's the type of guys that LSU attracts, is somebody like Elias Ricks. And, he's one of those guys where, the coaches and the assistant coaching staff, they see the potential in Elias, and, they're going to mold him, and they're going to and allow him to grow and help him grow into the player that he can be to the best player he can be until it's time for him to leave. But for him to come in and doing the things that he's doing is really impressive. And that's why he's playing as a true freshman, because he's making those plays.
JaCoby, I know y'all seen it this season to some degree. What is the challenge in terms of Ole Miss's offense at the tempo they like to play at?
The challenge is you always have to look at going into a game as their weapons. Who does the quarterback like to throw to? Who's their most electric guys? And like you said, the added bonus is the tempo. The best. As a defense, you want to be able to every snap. You want to be able to line up, see where everybody's at, make your checks, make your calls. But when the offense moves so fast, it takes away that time. It works into their advantage. But that's something that we're going to practice this entire week, so we can go into the we can go into game Saturday prepared, and hopefully put a good defensive showing Saturday.
And JaCoby, I wanted to ask you about McLaughlin. I heard a few people say, "Where has this guy been all year?" But what can you tell me about him? Just observing him in practice, what kind of future does he have?
He has a high ceiling too, and the White's one of those guys, like I said, that it's hard coming in as a true freshman and just coming and just being thrown to the fire, and we're like, hey, you got to learn on the run. Maybe, and people are asking that where Dwight's been. I mean, if you look back, like I said, I'm always going to go back to the off season with Coach Moffitt. And those couple of games before we get into the SEC play, that's probably the time where Dwight could have really matured and learned his role and really got a chance to learn how college football really works. And he could have been here even earlier. But the ceiling for Dwight is high. And like I said, I'm very proud of the freshmen and the underclassmen. What they have to go through this year. I mean, like I said, they really were just thrown into the fire, and they were thrown into the SEC West, and that's a hard division and conference just to be thrown into the fire and telling a 18, 19-year-old kid to learn on the run.
Thank you for your time, JaCoby.
Yes, sir.